Maybe that should be a contest now. Maybe we should have words put to the song.
What? Yes. Put lyrics to our theme song.
You were humming or whistling or whatever.
I was just making general noise.
To it. But I thought maybe you can. Maybe we need some lyrics to it. I might be afraid at what lyrics might come, but
yeah, that would be pretty interesting. Well, I'm sorry for my inattention right now.
You're good.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good to go.
Happy Thursday, and welcome to Live from Rabs from inside.
Here we are.
The State Asylum.
I should turn the volume down.
Dennis, I couldn't get a word in edgewise yesterday. Yeah, we had a very active chat yesterday.
Yeah, that was so cool. That was really, that's like all of the interviews that we do stay with me for a while, and I think about, but that one was just to see his kids so active on the feed was really nice to see.
Yeah, for those that didn't tune in yesterday, we had Principal Ryan Nellis of the New Ventures High School, and he's great. He's got a lot of energy. He talks about what they do there, the culture, the kids, and like Naz was just saying, all those kids were on the chat. They wanted the kids to be a part of of him coming on, so which was cool. But yeah, Dennis, it was very hard to get some comments in, and I was hoping for some questions from everybody, and they just, the cool part really, they were really showing a lot of love.
They absolutely were, and they were. Almost all of them commented that if it wasn't for that school and for Mr. Mellis, that they would not be as excited about school as they were. So it was a general love fest yesterday. So it was really nice.
It was and really his teachers, nice. Everybody came to, and they really do have something special. And if you didn't watch yesterday's show, go
back and watch it. It was great.
And listen to Ryan talk about, his love for education, but also the school and what they do.
Right.
It is different. It's not your average school. It is not your average schooling and education, but they give these kids an opportunity to shine in an environment that's better
suited for them. Right. Yeah. Right. And we all learn differently. Listen, if you're a coach, that's
that more than anything.
That's a great message. Is that you have to kind of tailor your message to your student. And he's great at that. He's got it. They got it.
Well, thanks for that nice reminder there, Dennis. It's great to have real life courses. Yeah. And that's a big thing. And, you guys, when the kids are here during the week, it's funny because they're in the fishbowl and they're in this room where everybody can see them at the same time. Maybe they're not always all paying attention, or they're learning very differently.
Or it seems, because it's a different setting. Yeah. So it's not like in a normal classroom, everybody's attention would be focused on the teacher or the instructor at the front of the room.
Yeah, they're just doing whatever they want.
They kind of are maybe self-guided a little bit. So they're working on their laptops and, so it seems like they're not being attentive, but listen.
Yeah. And I happened to go in there one day and I really thought they were not paying attention at all. And then all of a sudden the three kids just popped up and I was like, and then right back to their computers, whatever they were doing. Right. So yeah, it's just, looking at it through a different lens. It's very easy to judge when you see something that doesn't.
Yeah. Because it's not what it's not what we're used to seeing.
No. So. Well, we're not even used to the current education system when our kids are learning math so differently.
It's tough. It's
there's no carrying of numbers. We just break them down in tenths and hundreds.
Which is weird. Which, thank God, my kids are out of school, because if I had to teach this stuff right now, I would be struggling. Actually, I spoke to one of our bowlers yesterday, one of our league officers, and she was talking about helping her kid, not just with online learning. She goes, I'm actually having to teach him. And she says, and history? And she said, and so she brought up Federalists. And I wanted to tell her, one of your assignments should be to watch Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
You got a whole history lesson there. So, but I didn't. But
And that's a brand of wine too. I'm just saying, it's not a bad one.
Yes, it's not a bad one.
Hey, there's a lot happening in our world today alone. On Staten Island, our friends in our business community hosted a rally and it was not just about this single business.
Correct.
It was about small businesses coming together and making a statement that, hey, it's time
for at least Staten
Island to be moving forward. And I happened to be, I live nearby. I didn't stop, but I drove by, I honked my horn, and a lot of friends there. And so kudos to them for organizing and getting together to send that message. And, it captured the audience, it captured the news. It's capturing a lot of eyeballs, whether you agree or not. This group got together, and it's a large group of business owners. And even the community that rallied, it was not political. It was not meant to be political.
Right.
They even went as far as anybody, if you showed up with any sort of signage or any, please keep it in your car. This is strictly about opening our businesses and letting Staten Island, treating Richmond County outside separately of the region. So a lot of messages. Sadly, they of course they did shut the tanning salon down, which I think we expected, especially with all the hoopla. I think some businesses, if they tried without hoopla, they probably would get away with it for a very short period of time. Until the sheriff comes knocking.
Right. I'm so I'm a rule follower.
No.
So for me to see, but I understand, I understand what people are. And do I think that we are at the point where maybe Staten Island could be dealt with separately? Yeah. But then there's the other nagging thing that I keep seeing in the news is that Staten Island is second in infections per capita. I mean, we are way down, obviously. We're way down. But Staten Island did have a higher infection rate per capita, not just in general numbers, because obviously we're a smaller borough, we're less populated. So our numbers are going to be lower in general, but per capita, I mean, we did have a lot going on.
We did. And both hospitals have been reporting some great numbers this week.
Right,
and so we're making great progress.
Yeah.
I will say, Mandy Hawes was on with us last week from Oklahoma. She got a center there. And, there's all the centers are slowly starting to see pickup. And I mean, it goes both ways. There are people that don't want to go out and they do want to come out. She shared with us this morning that in a meeting with the Norman mayor, they're currently creating criteria for reverse phasing. So,
really?
Should hospitalizations
start to go up,
there's a re-increase. So, and I'm sure in this state we might see the same thing.
That's interesting.
And then, and Kevin, you're right to your point. And I think that's what the governor shared. Too many people travel to the other boroughs, which is why. And the governor was very clear on that. I mean, he might have been a little smug about it, but he was.
And that's what he did. Yeah,
and even going into New Jersey, I think I've said it before. I think the larger concern is going to be forget about the boroughs. New Jersey opening before we do, and this borough you could be in Manhattan and take the tunnel, but we've got much quicker access to go over those bridges and be in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be considered. And I just, I share that because kudos to them. Great job. It was civil. And a lot of our friends were out there, in support of each other. And so, sorry I wasn't there to stand with you, but we are standing with you, because we stand
with them every day.
We do. When we say hashtag Staten Island strong, we do have I think Staten Island does have a very different persona as a whole, and that's what also makes this community very unique and very tight knit.
Yeah. And so our circumstance is different, but, to expect to be treated outside the boroughs, I didn't really think that was going to, get the thumbs up, but,
Yeah, and at the same time, you
right out. I saw it. I watched it fly right out of your head. I watched that thought leave your head. In the meantime, just Henry Rao did make a good point that he felt that the numbers on Staten Island were higher because of the amount of essential workers that we have on Staten Island, EMS, FND, fire department, the police department, transit workers, and I know Queens is in the same position. They have a large number of city workers or essential workers also. So,
did they all share in the fines?
That's a good point, Kevin.
What I don't know, I have to say, what I don't know, I don't know if they issued a fine to him.
Right, I don't know either.
I think they pushed to shove him down.
Yeah.
I think what they've been, we don't know, but I as far as I do know, last I had heard that they just shut him down. They did not issue a fine, but I could be totally wrong.
Right.
And we'll hear later.
And I doubt they all shared in the fine.
Yeah. No. Oh, you know what? You would be surprised. All of a sudden, the basket goes around.
Right. You never know.
Yeah, my head went blank there, Dennis, and I still don't know what I was going to say, but I'm sure it'll come out in one way or another in what we're saying.
Yeah.
So we're here. We stand together. No different than I think this is where I was going with that. No different than the other day, yesterday afternoon, the restaurant owners got together to have a conversation about banning together.
Yeah,
and they should. And you know, I heard I didn't go. I was here,
supporting it our own way.
Right. My brother happened to attend with his friends, and you know, they were trying. They really they want to be. Proactive and be together. And there was an argument, hey, we should all open up together. Right. And then, of course, the reality sets in the conversations, and there are lots to be considered.
Yeah.
You've got our liquor licenses are probably the number one thing that if anybody's going to pull.
In jeopardy. Right.
That's in jeopardy. And they're going to pull. I mean, your food sales don't go anywhere without a. And we've talked about that with our other guests and even Pam last week. Right. And Pam is going to join us a little later today, along with our friend Danny Mills from Ruddy and Dean.
Ruddy and Dean.
But these are the conversations we're having.
Yeah.
So it's unknown, but hey, we stand together. We're a forefront. We're all in this together.
Totally
Bowling
supportive.
proprietors in New York State. This morning we had a Zoom call where we're all.
There's a lot of noise.
Can we turn that down, please?
What is that?
Put your headphones on.
Is that somebody's music?
Thomas is watching some sort of video. Anyway, so we had a Zoom call with fellow bowling proprietors from around New York State today. And I mean, 300 plus bowling centers strong, where we've made some, in our legislature work, we've done some great work.
Right.
We beat the tax. All we're asking is to be considered to be moved in phase 3.
Right. Oh, move up. Yeah.
You know, when you really look at what phase 4 is, we're lumped together with Yankee Stadium and Citi Field and these large venues. We're a sporting arena.
Right.
We're not that. We're not that.
Right.
Right. We don't have tens of thousands of people sitting on top of each other.
Right.
For a long extended period of time. So we're just asking politely, hey, these are the measures we're all taking. Please consider us in phase 3.
Right.
If it goes anywhere, we'll be excited.
And if it doesn't, at least you asked.
We asked. We put it forward. Hey, we're here. This
Right.
industry is loud, as loud as we can be, but from all over the state, banding together type thing. And we're going to regroup next week and see how all of our phone calls. We're just making some phone calls to our elected officials, and
that's how it starts, right? That's the end path.
Yeah.
That's where we start.
And so for our bowlers, some exciting news. We're writing prize checks. We're getting prize checks out, which is going to be great. You'll have a little extra cash from this past league season. I know the sad part is we would be ending now. We would be really working towards the end of the bowling season.
Yeah. Yep.
Some leagues would have already finished. You know, we lost all of that, but some prize checks will be dropping in the mail soon. And we've also posted the results from our pot of gold.
Awesome.
So I know
there's a couple extra checks that are going out to some people.
Yeah.
Too.
I was thinking maybe that could even be extra cash that we wind up giving out. But for the final results, visit bowlatrabs.com/pot-o-gold. And we gave away with 432 entries.
This year was going to be the biggest.
Naz, it was so funny. The week right before we were closing, I said to Naz, Naz, we've seen more entries this year than ever in the last 3 years that we've done this. And we were going to be over the last year's total entry number. And this, for those that are watching that don't know, we've got an in-league tournament, so to speak, that for $5 you get to enter as many times as you want. And the goal is to bowl over your average. So, and a prize.
You don't have
pool
to be, you don't have to shoot a big, if you're a middle average bowler, you don't have to worry about beating the high average bowlers. You just have to beat yourself. You just have to bowl as many pins as you could above your average. And we had a really, really, we were having such a good year too.
We were. So we had 432 entries. We were giving away $2,100 and $2,160 in prizes to 56 bowlers. On the men's side, Ralph Marzella, 156 pins over his average.
Way to go, Ralph.
And you know what? You mentioned the average range. He's a 205 average bowler, but he bowled 771. He had a great week.
Right.
And then if you really look at the average of the bowlers that won money, you're all over the place.
Right.
And typically the lower average, the medium, mid-average are the ones that are going to win more.
Right.
So
right. That's for us to have that might be one of the first times that somebody with a higher average has done really well.
Yeah.
Usually it's somebody in the 150 to 180 range for the men.
And on the women's side, Erica Kaczynski, she shot 667 on a Wednesday night. So 133 pins over her average, 178 average. Right. And then second place, 160. I mean, so go check out the results. Congratulations.
Yeah, check them out.
Erica.
Maybe you got some cash coming.
And Ralph. Dennis, I think this might be the first time you don't get some money. You stunk him up those 2 weeks. He was asking who won. However, had we had more opportunities to bowl,
correct.
You would have had a shot.
We would have had another couple weeks in there.
Go check out the results. They're posted. Congratulations to the winner, and really thank you to those that to participate. It's just something that we do to be interactive and keep everybody bowling and excited, looking forward to something different other than the regular pots that are available to you. And so, Ryan popped in, and so Ryan, thank you, and glad you enjoyed the show. Looking forward to continuing our real world education experience with our future generations. So one, Ryan, thanks for tuning in. Two, that was a thank you to Dennis for your kind words. He really was a ray of sunshine.
He was. That made my whole week.
Dennis had a bad season. That was the problem. Yeah, you could blame whatever you want. Sure. So that's that. Hey, Naz, so tomorrow we're doing bingo. And
I can't wait. Bingo! Bingo!
North Shore Rotary Club of
a big night in my house. Big night.
We host a bingo night, virtual bingo night. And if you want to join us, you're welcome to. We'd love to have you. It's open to everybody. You buy a bingo card or more.
Or more. Or
$10
four.
A piece. You buy money raffle chances for a chance to win some prizes and money and restaurant gift cards and whatever else we're giving away. A chance to play Plinko. But Naz, I got to share this. I was doing a little research on bingo. I mean, because you can't just keep playing the same games.
That's
look at all the shapes we can play.
Yeah, I was surprised. I assumed that you had a set thing that you were doing, but my mom, who obviously plays bingo, I really don't play, was asking me about some of these other ones, and I said, "That's not what we're doing, Ma. We're sticking to the program."
We did we did change it up. We even changed it up on site, where somebody said make it an H.
Yes.
But anyway, so sinorthshorerotary.org/bingo, and you can sign up. But look, you can make all sorts of letters and shapes.
All kinds of stuff.
I'm looking forward to that. So I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow night, but
I'll be interested. I'll be watching.
Me
and Ray and Liz and my mom set up in the living room in our little stations.
I didn't change in your little stations, and I like the photos that I get of the drinks and everybody's set up and ready to roll. It's been fun. So tomorrow night, 7:00 on Facebook, the North Shore Rotary Club. Visit sinorthshorerotary.org/bingo to get. I'm getting a question about how to get your cards. sinorthshorerotary.org/bingo. You'll purchase them there. You'll get them via email tomorrow afternoon.
Super Tosa is super happy.
She's super happy. She won last week too.
Yes, she did.
There's always next year. I thought I heard rain, but that's not rain. That was Michael on his scooter, I think.
Yes.
In the back. The weather, what is happening outside today?
It's just overcast. It's overcast. Well, you know, last night when I got home, I almost sent you. I was a little while because I kept waiting for the landscaper to come because I'm doing some landscaping work in the front, and I'm like waiting patiently for him to come. And but I went outside to check, and I could literally see the fog coming up the block. It was creepy.
just like the other night.
It was creepy to watch that happen.
So what were you saying? What was happening in the water by you today, this morning? Noise?
There was a lot of boats blowing their horns back and forth.
They weren't stuck, right?
I didn't go down to see, but you know, I'm always you know, I'm always super aware of the harbor, and it's kind of a tight space, and I live right next close to the ferry, so I hear a lot of that. But when I hear anything out of the ordinary, I'm like, what was that? What was that? Is something in
You're the neighborhood window watcher?
Is it? No, I don't go to the well, no, I can't see the ferry from my window.
Right.
But I am I am it does perk my ears up, so I do pay extra attention to it. But it was something I had never heard before. It was like two boats communicating with each other. They would do three horns, and then the other boat would do three horns, and this went on for like 20 minutes. So
it might all be connected to the bright light.
To the bright light. Joni knows about the bright light.
Which
It's
I don't think
there.
we solved the mystery on the bright
No,
light.
we never did. But hopefully it's all connected to the bright light. Yes.
So I wonder what there's a lot of activity. A lot of activity.
There was but you know what? For a long time, the harbor was very quiet. There was even the ferries were down to once every half hour, even during the busiest times. So, you know, things are picking up. We can see, you know, there's more ships back and forth. So, yeah, I think that just means in general, we're kind of getting back slowly, but
some normal
surely.
things are starting to happen around us.
Yeah, I think so.
So what was on your dinner table you made this awesome dinner the other night. You had short ribs. What did you do last night?
Last night we had the leftovers.
I was going to say you had to compete with
Yeah, I know.
meal.
You on the
I
other
wasn't talking about
hand.
me. I was talking about competing with your own meal. Like how many nights in a row did you do those meals?
No. We had the I put it over cauliflower one day, and then mashed potatoes last night, and then I changed up. I made like a chickpea salad instead of a regular salad, and but then I thought I was like, oh, this turns out so nice, and then I get a picture of Frankie's meal, and I felt like I was serving my husband McDonald's.
No.
But you did a very nice job. Of course, unlike Frankie, I don't post my meals.
I have to share because it's fun.
I wish I did.
Messages from our friend Camille Pizzo, who has the quarantine cuisine.
Yes, well,
and then she goes, "Well, you got to make sure you post it in the group."
And you did.
She'll message you, "Did you cook? Because if you didn't cook,
right,
or if you cooked, you want to share your photos."
So you even do the 3D picture or whatever it is you do, so that when you scroll, it like stays with you. So what is that about?
Okay, so wait. The 3D picture thing is bizarre to an extent. So if you take it on your iPhone, if you take it in portrait mode and you post it,
okay,
you could set it to be in 3D mode. And I mean, all it does is like it makes it look a little 3D.
Right.
But if you really look at it, it kind of ruins the picture too, because like that picture, the plates are my plates look like they're cracked. There's all these like little rough edges because of the way that it automatically pops
it makes it look strange.
So my sister-in-law, who's a Facebook stalker, she doesn't use it.
I was going to say, I wasn't even
She
sure
doesn't use it. She's a stalker, just like my brother, who probably are watching, or they do tune in, or they watch it later on. They're stalkers. That's what you call them. They're scrollers, but they use it. I will say the reason why she's there because for school.
I was going to say she probably needs it for the kids,
like,
right?
And that's all she really uses it for. She sent me a message a week or two ago. How come when we post pictures, even from here, why don't we post them in 3D? They look really cool, and in some cases they do.
Right, depending on what it's a picture of.
Right, but a lot of times, if we're posting to Instagram and Facebook, it's the same post.
Right.
So it's not a separate post. Yes, like Kevin. Kevin's the same thing. He doesn't have a page, but he uses his wife's page, and so they stalk Facebook. So she says, "Well, why don't you do that?" It would then be two different posts, and sometimes they don't look good. really, some of them
Yes.
look really cool.
Uh-huh.
So I played with it last night. I said, oh.
Oh,
But
okay.
we had grilled lamb, had lamb chops in the
Look
freezer.
delicious. Those big giant carrots.
And those horse carrots that came from and the
Did you get those from?
and Dave says Fran and Tommy use their Facebooks for bingo. So the horse carrots, they came from
Misfits?
from Hillside.
Oh.
So those are lamb chops from Hillside that we had gotten a little while ago. They were in the freezer, took them out.
I didn't know, because
horse
those big
carrots?
ones, you don't always get them.
If you ask, they'll get them.
Oh.
And we've been ordering them because one, we like them. They're fresher.
Right, yeah.
And I will, I keep the skin
You know,
on,
when I
clean them.
I did get them when I did that premium produce order. I got some nice big carrots from them too. So yeah, interesting.
Misfits has they have the heirloom carrots typically,
Yes.
not the big. They're not that big,
Right.
And they've been good. But the delegata squash that I had,
You got that in
that was from
Misfits?
Misfits. So I had 2 nice pieces of delegata squash that I cut in half.
I got so much butternut squash from them. I could.
I have one on the counter. Anthony looks at it all the time. He goes, "What am I laugh. It's
Same
like
thing.
chopped
You
in our
roast
house.
it, right?
What do you do with it?" I said,
Chop
"You can
it up
do
and roast
many things, but the delegata squash, you eat this. You keep the skin on. You don't have to take the skin off.
Oh.
So you cut it in half, and then you slice it. I threw it in the oven. Salt,
Take the
pepper.
seeds out, right? Seeds
Took
in
the
the
seeds
middle?
out.
Yeah.
Salt, pepper, olive oil. Actually, avocado oil is what I've been using. $4.25. I think I might have had it on $4.50, and let them roast. I mean, they just let them roast, and they become like chips.
Really? They're that crunchy?
You get they cooked for about 35, 40, almost 45 minutes.
Interesting.
And then the carrots, I did the same thing. I just added fresh thyme to the carrots.
I like carrots. I like
the carrots. Actually, could have cooked longer.
Yeah, I like
especially the big ones
when you could go right through it with the.
They were just shy of that. Like they were just shy. They were good. I was able to do that, but they needed more.
A little, right? You gotta,
And they don't need sauce. Like a lot of people make like a honey glaze. Or,
To me, carrots are sweet enough without.
They have so much, especially the big ones. They have really nice flavor. So that was last night's meal that I decided to share. I have short ribs though in the freezer, so that's coming this week because I don't know what I want to do with them now.
They're simple to cook.
I have my go-to recipe, but I mean, I want to do something different.
Well, have at it. There's a ton of recipes you can use with that.
And
I just braised mine. Really, just did the braised, and then I put it.
What was your sauce though? What did you braise them in?
I used I chopped up carrots, onions, celery, some garlic. Garlic was in that? Yeah. Oh no, garlic went in the pan later. Full garlic went in the pot before I put it in the oven. But then I put that. I browned the ribs first, then left the drippings in the pan. Then I cooked the chopped vegetables, and then I added a full bottle of a Cabernet.
Oh, so that's like similar. So where'd you get the recipe from? Is that a Barefoot Contessa recipe? Is that Ina Garten?
It might be. She's
that's
my
the same
favorite.
recipe that I use.
She's my favorite.
Yeah, full bottle of wine.
Yeah, and then you just reduce the wine by half on the stovetop, and then you stick it in the oven for another 2 hours or so. And they came out great.
Same recipe. I change it up. Whatever hearty vegetables I have.
Right, right,
Even,
and that's what it's good for. I mean, if you have some. Even some like root vegetables hanging around.
The fennel in that is awesome. Like it takes.
Oh, really?
So I usually when I make them,
I like the fennel.
Celery. It doesn't taste like you don't have no anisette flavor. Like you don't have that flavor. They just get sweet. So it's typically I use carrots, celery, fennel, onions.
Right, onions, which I love chopping.
This time I added mushrooms. And what else did I add to that? I had something else that I added to it. And I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's not going to break down as long as, it's going to break down and cook down. You just want something that's hearty. You could put asparagus in that. You really could put anything.
Right.
But you have to get the big ones because otherwise.
They get too mushy and they fall apart. And then you end up with.
He's playing with the mannequin. And maybe Pam does have an idea. I'm going to ask her about that too. So Kevin also points out there are a lot more barges in the harbor with fuel due to the lack of use. That could be safe or not safe. I'm not necessarily.
Well, they got to put them somewhere.
But
so,
And Dennis, watch out for that sharp object. I don't know if I'd trust your wife either. So what's on the dinner table tonight?
I am undecided.
Oh,
I was going to make meatloaf.
Ma!
The meatloaf. Because everybody likes it. So, it's an easy thing. You just put everything together and put it in the oven. But I'm not sold on it. I also defrosted some chicken before I left. So, but my mom is sick of chicken because I could eat chicken every night. My mother, every time I tell her we're having chicken, she just goes and makes her own little soup and sandwich thing.
I grilled chicken the other night. I have a little bit left, and it might be one of the best in a while. We had thighs and breasts, but I cut the breasts in half, and they were like perfect. So I was excited because I wanted to make a little salad.
You grilled it?
Yeah, I did a dry rub, similar to how I did the ribs, dry rub, and then I basted them on the grill. Yeah, love that. Hey, so it's Thursday. We're talking about food. We're going to keep talking about food because our good friend Pam Silvestri has finally joined us. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Pam.
Hello. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm having a great day. So things are good. Things are very good.
Are you still like you're off a little bit? I know you work today, but I mean, are you working a little less?
No, I actually no. It's been like crazy. I get up at like 4:30, 5:30 in the morning just to like kind of figure out what's going on, and it's been a haul. But I got some really nice news today. Some of my colleagues won awards with for their journalism, and I was included in that. I got an award for best beat reporter or something like that from the New York Publishers Association, I think it is. So
congratulations!
So a lot of times those that work gets submitted on your behalf. Was there a specific piece that they were recognizing?
Actually, my editor did it. She did it for a bunch of us, and Tom Robleski included, and Kristen Dalton. I was like so excited to see that. So yeah, I guess they write a little submission and send it in, and I don't know. And I thought that was nice. Yeah, they picked several pieces, things I never would have picked in a million years, but like a profile of Mario from Barrios. I just did like painted a portrait of him. He's kind of an interesting person just in general because he is. And but he has all these tattoos too. Like he's got I actually interviewed him at the time for this article right after he had kind of gotten his divorce finalized. Mm-hmm. So he was sort of changing his whole life, and things were coming together, and the business was doing great, and it was really nice. So thank you very much. I appreciate your nice words. I'm sorry. Anyway, but I want to tell you, I had another interesting thing today, which was very hopeful. At 11 o'clock, there was a thing that happened in Eltingville. Did you guys talk about that?
Yeah, briefly. We were just talking about how I drove by and honked my horn at my friends because I had to get going and didn't stop. But we were saying how one, kudos to them for putting something together for small businesses to be strong. And I mean, we're there in support too. We're not standing there, but we certainly support the effort. So did you go there today?
No, I wanted to, but I got assigned a story, which was a press conference with the city council speaker, Corey Johnson. And I am so blown away. This is the first time I've ever done that. So my colleague Signe usually handles City Hall and such, but I was so blown away. The politicians on Staten Island are so supportive of the businesses, Joe Borelli and Mateo and even Debbie Rose. They're all so pro-business, and in this whole pandemic, I am like blown away. So the city council wants to put forward legislation that will allow restaurants to open maybe like in the next couple of weeks, actually, so soon, which is great for alfresco dining. So they're working with the Department of Transportation and also the Department of Mental Health and Hygiene to not only source the spaces, but also to get the guidelines up and running on what is proper. And anyway, but the interesting thing is that I was looking at the photos from that rally in Eltingville, and it was like the Associated Press was there. So they had this picture that I could not believe. I mean, this is what it's come down to, is that the police are responding to this guy owning a tanning salon and opening up.
Yeah.
This can only happen on Staten Island. Like the first business that's going to be like opening up is a, tanning salon. So I just give them a lot of credit. The Staten Island is the only place I think that these businesses that they actually have a chance. I really do. And, you know, and it's because of the support of the politicians. They're like completely on board. So anyway.
And the good part about what we was also saying before, they made sure that this was not a political thing. If you brought a sign, they were asking you to put it in your car. Your sign, anything was supposed to be strictly about small business and supporting the effort of getting us reopened. You know, so talk about the restaurant piece, which is great. I did see, and we talked about this last week, the Sidewalk Cafe thing. Looks like it's ramped up speed, and there's been some approvals for people to allow. And I might have the time frame wrong, but is it up to a year to be able to operate without a permit outside?
Yes. Right now, what I understand is that it's until October 31st that all of this legislation for the coronavirus crisis time is in play. Like it's good until October 31st and possibly longer if the social distancing rules are still in place. So, you know, it's interesting because I was talking with Allison from Max's Esca in Dongan Hills, and you know, it's discouraging for a business that does fine dining to you know, be sticking with this ridiculous to-go format. I mean, that's not ridiculous. You have to do it to get by if you're going to continue to stay in business at this time. But I mean, you know, it's wearisome, and it's like the logistics of it, and you know, and I was honestly, I was like really candid with Allison. I'm like, you know what, maybe this is time to look at the parking lot, you know, and do great things with it, because the customers that go to the Dongan Hills restaurant, they are very loyal, and I'm sure that those customers would love an outdoor cafe. You know, I'm sure that they would enjoy having, you know, live DJ music or DJ music, you know, on a Saturday night, like in the parking lot. I think, you know, they can do it. I think they can do it well if they have the support of the city council and everything. But, you know, I will say that
they got a unique setup there, because then that lot goes in the back, and they have that enclosure space in the front. So opening it up or adding some, I mean, there's ways to do it. It's every business that we have to look at it through different lenses. You know, no different than when Naz and I are talking about marketing something and literally standing on the concourse looking at it as if we're a child. You know, what does a child see? What does the parent see? What does grandma see? It's every restaurant. Every business, restaurant specifically, has to look at their space now more differently than ever before.
I agree.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So anyway, but it's kind of cool. I'm encouraged. I mean, like, this was sort of good news, and the enthusiasm of Corey Johnson. My goodness, he's a perfectly reasonable person. Also, one of the reporters asked, this was by Zoom. One of the reporters asked, "What is the deal like with the mayor's reticence? Like, why is he acting like this?" And the response from the speaker was, "It's because he can't, as much as he wants a unique, you know, like New York, he can't handle the uniqueness of New York, you know, like I don't know, he's like flummoxed by the whole, you know, it's crazy. It's really nuts."
It's like you can't deal with separating them out. It's much easier to keep everybody all bundled together under the same guidelines. Yeah,
interesting. And but I want to also point out that some really great things have come of this pandemic. I mean, as miserable as things have been, you know, your broadcast is wonderful. I really enjoy tuning in. I can't stay for the whole thing sometimes, but I just get such a kick out of you two. You're really funny, and you say some crazy things sometimes that I just like burst out. Like, I think it's just so funny. Anyway, so I got a kick out of a lot of skits and stuff.
We enjoy watching you too.
Yeah, and we kudos to you all the time. And I mean, as long as the crazy things that we say aren't ones that are going to get us in trouble, then we're okay.
No, and Quarantine Cuisine, that Facebook page is wonderful. I mean, that woman Camille Pizzo, I so enjoy that Facebook page. It's such a great page. It's such a great exchange of information. Yeah. You know, also just people have really stepped up. Little Jen, you know, Little Jen of Big Ange fame.
Yeah.
Jen Patafino. She started this thing. It's called Jen's Tip Cup Wheel or something, and it supports the people in the restaurant business.
I just saw that this afternoon, but I didn't dive into that. Talk about that.
It's hysterical. It is so funny. She's just so cute. She goes, she gets a glass of wine, and she's like, "Hey, let's go on the wheel," you know, and she picks people, and like, you can win $250 and you know, or $50 or $100, and you can either keep it as a person in the restaurant business that's unemployed, or you can, I think, pass it along. I think that's the tenet of the whole thing. But it's like 10, 15 minutes. But she's such a character, you know, like when she gets into it, a couple of glasses of wine in her, she's just really funny. I get a kick out of that. So, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think that was, if I read the little premise of what that was built on, it was built on to help those that are out of work, the waiters and people in the restaurant business, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's cool stuff. So some nice things have come of this. But Marco over here is saying, Gennaro's in Rab's parking lot, live music, your favorite beverages, and the best pizza served to you. Is that a possibility? Marco, I think that's a great idea. I actually envisioned almost, and I don't want to rip off, you know, Juicy Lucy's idea, but Richie Holmes from Juicy Lucy came up with the idea of doing a drive-in movie. And
we're laughing. We're laughing.
Right.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
So these are things that we've been looking into and which is great. We have a great space that we can't utilize in its current form. And whatever we do out there can only be for now while we're closed, because once we're open, I mean, the lot's always busy. Right. We're looking, and it's funny, Marco's not here, so he missed the conversation before, but we're looking at it. My concern for a lot of these things, and something I talked with Vinny at Angelina is, you know, they have this bar and people are tailgating out there. They're slapping some wrists. They're not really writing summons, but you know, our liquor licenses are very valuable, and so we have to be careful. The governor's office is being very quick to pull licenses should you it's not follow certain rules. So we're looking at it. We don't want to skirt the rule. We want to stay within the guidelines and what they say we can and can't do. But the movie thing is awesome. We're looking at it. We're looking at a couple of different things. Of course, it has to make financial sense. Right. And of course, we're looking at, you're talking about high ticket things. We're looking at it. So I wasn't really prepared to talk about it. I mean, thanks, Marco. Marco, I love that you put us on the spot here, but it's not something I was really looking to talk about here, but that's okay.
Well, yeah, we
keep it real. So we're going to share everything anyway.
We did talk about the movie theater thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were kind of delving into the possibilities and, you know, how we could make it work and if we can make it work. So, yeah, we had all that kind of.
Yeah, and then reaching out to consumer. I have to say, reaching out to consumer affairs certainly has been challenging. But at the same time, as a business, that is not my core business. So I'm utilizing my space, and how could we effectively utilize this space when we're not supposed to be operating, so to speak? So so those are all the things that we're talking about, because I know once we do something, it gets blown up, and then I do not want to be in a position where somebody comes knocking and shuts us down and says, no, you can't do this.
And and I think one of the other concerns that we talked about is we are in a fully surrounded neighborhood. So, you know, we don't want to bring it, and we have a good relationship with our neighbors. You know, we don't want to bring anything into the neighborhood that they're going to sense as disruptive or disrespectful to their space. So, you know, we had to tread a little lightly on that. So, but yeah, we're definitely,
we'll figure it out.
We're going to figure it out.
We're working on it. We're going to call on you.
Well, please. Yeah, I'd love that stuff. But I just want to also point out that Juicy Lucy, so Richie Holmes has been kind of the first person to make decisions like, okay, we're not opening up our restaurant anymore. We're not doing this. He's been the first one to really do a lot of this kind of groundbreaking stuff in the coronavirus crisis. One thing that he did do was this drive-in theater idea. So his idea was, it was interesting, like to see how he negotiated with the movie company. It was Lucas Productions, I believe it's called. George Lucas was the one who created Star Wars, and that was the first movie that he picked for the drive-in. And but it's interesting. It was a lot of negotiation. It didn't take long. You know, it took about a month, and he's doing some improvements. He's putting in like a professional screen. He purchased the land around the restaurant down in Ocean Breeze, and he's going for it. I put the story up, I guess around maybe 11:30 in the morning yesterday. Yeah. But they had like 8,000 views by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So many people shared this story. It was incredible. It went everywhere. And I think that it's just, you know, just a sign of hope and American entrepreneurial spirit. It just symbolizes so much. And I also want to point out that Richie Holmes has ice cream trucks. he has lickety splits, and he was
Right.
he put the trucks back on the road, like in the middle of the pandemic, and people thought it was creepy.
Yeah.
And they thought it was creepy to hear the music and such. But anyway, so, but he was right. Like on some levels, it just one person thought, oh, wow, normalcy. It's the ice cream man, on a warm day. Meanwhile, you got the kids sitting on the minivan like, oh, I want some ice cream and money.
Yeah, and it's been greatly received. And what he's doing at Juicy Lucy, I think, is great. And it's a sign of hope. People are itching to do things. And that's where the conversation that we've had internally a little bit was, hey, can we do this? People do want something to do. We're going to be closed for a while. Can we make it work? And so, I mean, that's what we want to do it. If we're going to do anything, as anybody knows, we want to do it right, and so we've got to make sure that, hey, we're all in compliance and make sure it works. And then, of course, hey, there's a lot that goes into it. So we'll see. I didn't know that he had purchased the land around.
Yeah, no, we were talking about it this morning.
There's nowhere in his lot to do that. But that makes more sense that he had gotten a hold of that land to do it. So
yeah, interesting. It's good stuff. But anyway, you could set up roach races and people would fly. I like that. You could do virtual road races. Did you guys have some kind of problem or something, or what is that?
No.
Kevin being Kevin.
It's Kevin, yeah, Kevin being Kevin. We used to do at Bowling on the Green. We used to do turtle races in the ball. That was a thing. I mean, so road races. I don't know about that, but maybe.
Yeah, no, I won't be attending those or watching those.
My cousin Joanne, who lives in Great Kills, grew up native Great Kills. She used to talk about the turtle races at some. It was a bar where Mike's Diner is now on Highland Boulevard in Great Kills. I can't remember the name of the bar. It was like anyway, it was like some bar that everybody hung out with years ago.
I remember.
And turtle races. I thought she was joking, but it was a real thing. It was like dwarf bowling, and I don't know if that's politically correct anymore. I just want to flash back to a memory, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
This is such a Staten Island thing, but I know real Staten Islanders would. Like natives will understand this. So years ago, one of my first jobs in high school was selling real estate, and it was kind of an accidental thing, but I fell into it. There was a kind of a crazy situation. I got this job. It was random. These people could not sell these townhomes called Town and Country Estates right across from the mall. I mean, yeah. So what they did was they had an auction. And they put up a big sign, big banner illegally on poles, which was part of my job. Actually, on windy days, it was like dealing with the neighbors screaming about it. But anyway, I was like 16 years old. And the people, so they had, started at $29,000, $39,000, and $49,000. The auction was at the Shalimar at like 3 months after they started selling the houses. I don't know what was funnier, the whole process of selling these homes and the people and how they came in and flushed diapers down the toilet and back up all the plumbing in the whole town. Anyway, it was just unbelievable. Anyway, you'd also look out the window of these living rooms and you're literally looking into the Staten Island Mall driveway. So the cars look like they're coming at the house. It was just crazy. Anyway, so when we finally got to the point of having the auction at the Shalimar, it was like the people who ran this brokerage company, they were like smoking cigars and everything. And they were so ready to party. And people were going, the houses went for like $169,000. It was like a real auction. Anyway, but I remember the food there. And I just remember that whole feeling of we were in a recession at the time. I feel like that is sort of what we're headed for, some kind of crazy way of, I don't know, opening things back up and selling and whatever. And if we could only have the Shalimar back just to go into the, what is it called? The Rumpus Room or the what was it called? All these crazy rooms, like the Morocco room. You remember that? Anyway.
No, pre-me.
Yeah, I don't remember what the names of the rooms were. I definitely remember the Shalimar.
The Bombay room.
They were all themed. Yeah, it was pre. I mean, I know as a kid probably there, but then it became that's the old Excelsior, right? What the Excelsior became.
Well,
it's crazy. I mean, and it just listen the way that the business has changed over years, but that's a funny story. That is interesting. I actually probably. I don't know if I could see you up there hanging those signs and
I would stay myself the whole day, like Monday through Friday, answering the phones. And a lot of the neighbors were really twisted that the price of the houses were so low because they were afraid that he was going to bring in people from all over the place,
Right.
Anyway,
So, so I mentioned earlier that there's the restaurants had gotten together yesterday to have a conversation about reopening, and you mentioned Allison and Max were there, and Angelina was there, and it was at DeLuca's. But anything new on the restaurant scene the last couple days that we've seen that you'd share?
Well, I will say that whether or not you support Trump or whatever, these rallies are important. But I think the thing that has taken away from their credibility has been the fact that they roll in like the 2-story Trump signs, and that has been sort of getting away from the point of the anxiousness of people on Staten Island to open. The meetings that they've had in the last couple of days, a lot of people on the South Shore are alarmed that businesses in New Jersey are going to be opening in, not in tandem with us. I did ask the city council people if the Staten Island would be the exception, especially with restaurants, since people can go right over to New Jersey. And they said no, that New York is going to be New York. We're doing it all together. But the people are outraged. The meetings have not necessarily been productive, I don't think, because I think they're just so angry, and it's just there's no Staten Island Restaurant and Tavern Association. They're getting together, for 2 hours at a clip and venting, but what should be coming out of it is, how are we going to reopen? What are the rules? What are the spacings? Let's put up a list of things. Let's give it to our councilmen to include in that legislation so that they can give it to the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. Like let's go forward. Let's look around our restaurant and see how we can figure out dining outside, on the roof, on the, making an extension onto the sidewalk. Like that's where we should be headed. This is the conversation we should be having, because in the next 2 to 3 weeks, the dining is going to happen. It's just going to happen outdoors.
Yeah, we have to. We just have to start assuring our elected officials and our consumers that, hey, we're doing what we can.
Yes.
These are our plans. No different. I mentioned it earlier. The bowling centers around New York State are having the same conversation. We've outlined a list of things that we would plan to do together. Right. I mean, a lot of things that we already do that maybe weren't even taking it into consideration.
Right.
And I know in Florida, I think it's Florida, they're up to 75% capacity.
Wow.
So. They've already moved forward with it went from 25 to 50, 75%. And so the same thing's going to happen with us. What that timeline looks like, I mean, none of us really know. But as long as you're doing it right, we can get there slowly. But we need to be sooner rather than later. You talk about the political side of it. It's gotten very political, and so between the governor and the mayor spatting at each other, and then on the other side with the president, and it makes it difficult, especially for the consumer, to say, "All right, already, let's do what we have to do." And I think I saw today the governor was in Brooklyn, and he talked about people wearing masks and you having the right to deny someone entrance into your business. And that opens up a whole nother can of worms. But I mean, if somebody's going to have your back, then great, because before nobody had your back. Right.
I know, and I can't believe how brazen some people are with the masks, like not wearing them. Like I was in CVS the other day. I just hate going to CVS now, to be honest with you. It's always been like a big germ pool, but now it's like
it's like an incubator.
But sick people go there. I mean, it's so true.
I'm going to be honest with you. Again, I will never go into a CVS like for years without a mask on, and possibly gloves. And I feel like a loon, but it's just, I guess this is sort of a big reminder of just how close contact and everything, it can get you real sick.
Maybe people will think about, because I know I've gone into any drugstore and somebody, they've got the flu, they got something, and they're looking for whatever they're looking for. Maybe people will think twice and send somebody else to go get it for them.
Well, not everybody has that capability, but I think CVS is trying to. I know that they're doing prescription delivery, and actually, I placed an order for stuff, regular stuff from CVS
online?
This morning online.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, so. Yeah.
I wanted to tell you some crazy stories that have come out of the pandemic, if you don't mind, in terms of food and otherwise. A couple of really flip out things. I will start with the one that I'm working on right now, which is, and you guys are welcome to email me or Facebook message me if you have an experience like this. So because people are cutting their hair at home more, and because of face masks slipping down toilets and such, and younger workers flushing gloves down toilets. These plumbers have shifted their focus from doing restaurant jobs and maintenance to reaming out sewage lines with all these crazy things in them. And I just thought that was so weird, Like I called a bunch of plumbers because I was curious, because also inferior toilet paper, because Scotty and Markel are kind of the better brands.
Yeah.
People have been using this inferior toilet paper in commercial grade toilet paper. So it's been not adapting well to home systems. And the plumbers have been very active in cleaning out the clogs because of that. So that was the result of the hoarding. But the other thing is the hoarding on yeast. That was a crazy story. There's no yeast in the region. I contacted Fleischmann's Yeast, and they said that sure enough, they have no yeast. They are like backlogged. So they were trying to keep up with the production, because in the Northeast, we apparently decided to all start baking and making our own bread. And it was around Easter and Greek Easter, and those are holidays that require a lot of baking for traditional folks like Greeks and Italians and such. And
I saw a lot of people on Facebook posting their photos of all their. I mean, I've never seen so many people make bread before, and to your point, everybody's home making bread. Like they have to go. They go to a restaurant and they get a bread basket, so now they have to have bread at home. I mean, it's interesting, but a lot of people.
The bread was making. And the other crazy story that came out of this was the Chinese food, the shortage of Chinese food when Chinese restaurants started closing up. Not all of them are open too. It's like wild. And sushi places, like there's probably about 10% of the Chinese and sushi places are not open. It's weird, like, I mean, also that people were scared to eat Chinese food. They thought that I guess Trump kept using the word, the Chinese virus.
Yes.
So,
stop.
Oh my gosh. So I guess, using that term, it just scared the heck out of people, and also there was just this general mistrust of Chinese, because of the starting in Wuhan. But anyway, so people are starting to come back, and the smaller restaurants. The other phenomenon that happened is that when they did start to reopen, they would get like bombarded. So anyway, that's fine.
Speaking of other restaurants, our friend Danny Mills is. I'm going to bring him in. He's joining us for a few minutes before we end the show. But we talked a little bit about him last week, and so here he is.
Hey Pam, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
How are we doing, gang? Not too bad. Took me a little while to get on this thing. I had to use my cook's iPhone. Couldn't get on my Apple, so I'm just glad I made it for the last couple minutes or whatever.
Oh, that's good. It's good to see you, Danny. I was just talking about you to Allison over at Max's Esca. It's like, there are 3 restaurant owners that have been amazing in this whole pandemic. I mean, multiple, but Danny is one of them. Danny is amazing. So, good job.
It's been a hard road. Thank you. It's been a hard road for everybody, not just you, but there's 2 choices. Either you keep on working or you don't. And we choose to keep on working. My guys worked with me. Got to be loyal to them because they've been loyal to us. So we got to make an effort to stay in, make it happen. I guess that's the way it has to be. You try to make enough different things so when the family goes to make a choice, we're included because we have enough wide range of varieties to give people those options. Especially with kids making a lot of the choices these days than the adults. Little Johnny doesn't eat anything but chicken fingers, or Mary doesn't eat anything but carbonara. So whatever the case may be, we try to do a little bit for everybody. And it's kind of worked. It's been a lot harder on the kitchen, that's for sure. Prep has been very difficult. When you ask guys to, the word in restaurant business is mise en place. And it's kind of more like a mise en mess, to tell you the truth, because we're all over the place, going from pierogies to ribs to carbonara to, we just tried a calzone yesterday for the first time, working on that. Whatever can work.
Hey, so Danny, you guys have adapted very differently in these times. So talk a little bit about what you've been doing. Selling meat and just trying to make it easy for you as well as and the consumer.
So people always asked if we would cut their meat so they can grill it at home another day. So we put on a daily special, which we send out to some guests if they give us their phone numbers. I put it on Facebook that the butcher shop's open. We've even gotten some customers as far as New Jersey, Clark and Westfield. So sometimes I meet them halfway, and there's 3 or 4 orders that go out, and it's been pretty good that way. And like I said, we expanded our menu for 2 reasons. Some things, you know, are in the market, and some things aren't in the market. And when they're in the market, we use them. You know, this week happened to be scallops, and you know, we took some cod in, and we're doing fish and chips and doing a fisherman's platter, and you know, we're kind of all over the page, but in a nice way. My Philly is my chef Phil is a CIA graduate, so he could adapt and accommodate, and the other 2 guys I have are spectacular. So we collaborate every night for a new menu, as well as having our daily menu with our steaks and steak sandwiches and such.
Yeah, you know, Danny, I have to say, you know, we've ordered from you a few times, and you know, you take great care in packaging the takeout stuff, which I know doesn't ordinarily easily translate for like the type of menu items you might have, but you've done a great job. You really, really have. We've been really happy.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to get better packaging. I've talked to Pam and, you know, about some other things that we can do to make it a little bit better. And it's, I guess the thing is, if you don't try to continue to get better, people will pass you, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
So you always got to keep getting better. You know, improvement. And listen, because every day is, you know, it's Groundhog Day. And I just had a customer who ordered me for 4 times, and there goes my phone. And so as I talk, I got to tell somebody to get that phone because that's my lifeline. So, you know, we don't get you don't get the benefit of the doubt, you know, when we're preparing this large menu. And here's what I mean by that. So we're doing numerous different items, and when we're prepping, it might take a little longer. For instance, I had a fried chicken dinner that we did for the first time in a long time. So we did a honey butter fried chicken. And I thought the preparation time would be about 35 minutes. It turned out it was closer to 50. So I told the customer, as I always do, it would be 45 minutes to an hour. And my sister is pulling up to deliver his food, and he's at me on the phone saying, it's an hour and 15 minutes. I cannot believe it took that long. I said, well, do you want it, sir? She's right in front. No, I don't. Okay, but the 4 other times that he ate, he loved it. So I didn't understand, and that's part of the stuff that I say, okay, well, maybe I'll do better. And now when I tell people I do something new, I will call you before we leave. So that way you can't hold us to a time. So
Right.
That's what's been going on. And I know people have been spectacular, you know, and patient and generous. But as their patience wear thin not to get out, they're going to take it out on us, because I feel that that's the highlight of the day. Now, that might sound sad, but after they get their exercise in, after they do their work, and they're like, okay, they rub their hands together and they say, what's for dinner? What do we want to do today? And we can't disappoint. If we do, we might ruin their whole day.
It's true.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Danny, listen, you've been a fighter from
Day one.
way back, day one. And we love your place. And, you know, we've watched you grow into, you know, what you are now. And, you know, I feel like you were like right there right before this happened. So I'm glad that you're hanging in there. And, you know, I expected nothing less of you. I said, listen, he's going to get through this. He's going to power through this like nobody has seen. And I'm glad you're doing well on that. Listen, I hope it continues, but
Thank you very much.
I hope this is over soon.
Well, well, the goalpost keeps on getting moved back every couple weeks, doesn't it? Like de Blasio hasn't given a clear-cut plan because he didn't have one. Just like we waited till the 23rd hour before he told the schools they weren't going back. Because he didn't have a plan for the teachers. He doesn't have a plan for the restaurants, but the problem is going to arise when on June 20th, the sales tax rolls will be way down. And then he's going to say, uh-oh. And that's when I think the next You know, because they're putting the first 2 weeks as June, the first 2 weeks. Not giving you a concrete date like 15th or 18th. So his first couple of weeks. So he's playing with the goalpost. I just hope guys can handle it and figure it out and stick around, because it's going to get better. But it has to come with a plan. If it doesn't come with a plan, Naz, this is a problem. Because I can't afford to have the air conditioner on, and you could ask any of these other guys, you know, in August, and there's only 25% of my people being here, and I got to pay $4,000.
Yep.
You know, that's what my bill normally is, between $400 and $4,500 a month in August, $3,500, $3,700 in July. So 25% of the people, it can't work. It can't work. So I hope they come up with a better plan, something that we can live and execute and thrive with.
Danny, what if you could recommend to people who want to buy meals from you, what works for you? Like, do you recommend that people order not at the dinner hour? Maybe they order earlier. Like, do you get a crunch time? Is something can be done that makes it easier for you?
You know, any time is a good time, because they're happy when they order. So would it be crazy if people say, they order 1 o'clock and want it at 7 o'clock, and I say, well, that's great, so we can prep some of the stuff, but I can't cook it because I cook it at 1 o'clock. It's not going to be good at 7. So yes, it's nice to have those orders, and we can prep, but cannot cook. So it's just something that you got to go. You know, you're in the weeds, Pam. We're in the weeds, and we dig in and we fight, and you know, operation as far as like mashed potatoes and things like that, we're bulking up a little bit, but we cook everything fresh to order. There's not much, like I don't have a hot well. I don't have tomato sauce in a steam table. We do everything a la minute. And because I do believe that makes a difference and whether we'll order again. So, yes, it'd be great to take that order, but to get it delivered is a lot harder. Now, Mother's Day, when I did pickup only and we took the orders in, it worked spectacular. I gave them a window of 10 to 15 minutes, and everybody was able to get their food on their way. And people want to talk to me. I told them, you can't talk today. You got hot food. Your mother's going to get mad. You got to go. So if people want to talk to me, they got to come a little bit earlier than that. And that was my deal, because they're paying for it. They might be friends, but if they're not getting good food, they'll be my friends and they won't order for me. I want them to order for me.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, hey, Danny, thanks so much, and keep up the great work. And I'm looking forward to having a nice steak and burger. I mean, he's got great burgers.
All right, we'll be here. Thank you very much. Our burgers are good. We're cooking with care, love. So you guys be well, stay safe,
You too.
and we'll see you around our table next time.
Absolutely. Go back to the kitchen.
Danny.
We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Dan.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's great. And and we've talked about him several times on the show because to what he said, they adapted and pretty quickly.
Yeah, we're really remarkable. Anyway, guys, thank you for having me. This was very nice.
Yeah, thank you. Happy
Thursdays.
I look forward to it. So you guys are terrific. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate everybody reading this, who contributed on the scroll, and just reach out to me at SI Live. Today we're Tom Robleski and Mark Stein are having me at their 5 p.m. broadcast. They do Facebook Live, and that's about it. So,
right, so today at 5, and that'll be on the SI. That's the Staten Island Advanced Facebook page.
Yes, SI Live.
And then every morning, Pam's live, giving the scoop.
9 o'clock.
What's the theme of tomorrow morning's show?
I don't know.
You need some inspiration. All right.
So anyway, bye-bye now.
Thanks, Pam.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Oh, now I'm extra hungry. And now I'm going to have to send Pam a note because I'm going to ask her about, we talked about short ribs before. Oh. And now I was going to ask her for some inspiration on short ribs, but.
Always right after they go.
Well, no, I had it. We could sit here for hours and continue talking. I mean, it just wouldn't be fair. Thanks to Pam and thanks to Danny. And we continue to support your small businesses and your restaurants.
And you know what? Danny is a perfect example of a small family-run business, and he up on Richmond Terrace, across from the ferry there. He's fought the good fight there, I have to say. He's been there a long time, and he's been through construction and all kinds of
between the ballpark, the ferry, the real
nonsense
everything
going on, and he's toughed it out, man. I will tell you, and the quality of the food never wavers, and he takes a lot of pride in it personally.
Made with love,
and he says it all the time. And he really is, on top of everything, he's a good guy. He really, really is a good guy.
And he's always there, always got a smile,
there, almost always
checking in on tables, and again,
most of the time working.
Yeah, he's always in the kitchen.
He's not just hanging out. He's getting it
and
done.
that shows the love for food too, right? If you could be in this business and then spend time in the kitchen and cook and prepare,
we had
you take pride in that.
Conversation with him about half an hour about steaks and his comparison of steaks and why some steaks are good and why some places that consider themselves highfalutin places are really don't take the care that they do. And he went into great detail about it.
Hey, listen, if you get a nice nice cut, you've got to treat it right. I mean, you talk about, if you talk to somebody that marinates their rub, I mean, you take time and you physically use your hands and you take time to grill it. You don't overcook it. You use the right cuts. Right. And there are different ways to cook it. Yeah. Quick, I don't know if we've talked about this. Speaking of beef, Costco sells a lot of beef and meats, and I'm very picky when I buy meats. And then from Costco, I don't usually buy steaks.
Right.
But I do like the lamb chops. I like the
lamb chops
loins.
Are great. Yes.
Some of the stuff that maybe not actually, and that stuff doesn't typically come out of their butcher.
Right.
But there's a guy on Facebook. He does his videos and he talks about all different types of meat.
We started talking about it. And I asked you a question. You said as long as it's not
blade tenderized, right?
We never talked about.
So this guy, a younger guy, he goes into Costco and it's a regular thing, and he talks about what it's basic, and it goes in supermarkets what to buy, what not to buy, and talks about organic and grass fed and the differences. And I will tell you, I've learned so much by watching that. And then, although at the same time, it scares me to even consider buying meat.
Yes.
And I'm not some supermarkets have a great meat department. And so, yes, I know people that have worked in supermarkets, in certain markets, and say, no, don't do it unless you get your, you grow up, you buy from the butcher.
Right.
And we have access to it here.
A lot of supermarkets used to do that.
Yeah.
They used to buy the full cow or whatever it was and cut it all up themselves. A lot of that has gone away from
so they bring it all in, and you have to be careful what you buy.
Right.
So the whole blade tenderizing thing is kind of funny. On the labels, if you ever look at some of these meats, they don't need to be tenderized because they're already tender. There's no reason to do this extra work to it. But by doing that, the process is you're poking holes in the meat.
It's like it's like when they aerate the greens at the golf course.
So they're aerating the meat. And then it tells you the warning label, you have to cook it, and it's got to be at a certain temperature, which is well done. So now you've totally killed the meat.
Yeah.
But you have to cook it because now they've contaminated the meat by putting it in the tenderizer and poking holes. So you need to go watch him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of scary, but at the same time, we see organic meat, and you automatically assume it's not GMO, but you automatically assume it's grass fed.
Right.
Well, unless it says grass fed,
right?
You have to be careful. So when you're buying chopped meat, you're more depending. It's usually $1 more. It's not much. In Costco, at least. In other small markets, it is more expensive.
Right.
But you really have to take. A meat education is not a bad thing.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Especially if you enjoy it.
We're lucky to have several butchers on Staten Island that we have access to.
Yes.
Montalbano's, Hook and Rail, and I know there's others on Staten Island that they do great because they're direct butchers. So
Tina asked the same thing about the tenderizing octopus. Hey, Tina, don't they tenderize octopus by throwing it against the wall? I mean, it probably does. If you ever go to the Octopus Garden in Brooklyn, I mean, you can get anything, and it's all there. But octopus, I think it is because I've seen them. They do different things to it. I don't know, but you have to look at where it comes from if it's fresh. But take a look at your labels, and if it says blade tenderized, now go look that up and look at the type of meat. Like if you have a rib cap, That's one of the most. I mean, that's one of the best pieces
Right.
you can eat. That's the out of the ribeye, and it doesn't need. You don't need to do anything to it.
Right.
But yeah, it's very interesting. And so
Yeah,
check. I'm
check
going to
that
find his video and I'll post it to my personal page.
I've sent it to me. For
It's
sure.
a little scary, but anyway, know what you're buying. And to Danny's point, he buys a lot of meat, and he could sell it to you
Right.
at a. I mean, he's not selling it at the butcher price,
Right.
Because it may not be fruitful for him
Right.
to do,
Right.
but it's still it's
Right.
good
Exactly.
quality,
Correct. Yeah.
and he's cutting it for you. He'll tell you how to make it. You spend some. I mean, I've been in the restaurant, and you talk about anything. You said he spent a half hour with you, right? You ask him about the steak and what he does, and if I did this at home,
Right.
can I duplicate this?
Right. Yeah. He's
And sometimes you can't. You need the
Yeah,
right pans. You need the grill, and they take the rosemary and the butter, and they do the whole.
the whole thing.
I don't need all that, but anyway. Hey, the meme of the day, Naz. Since we're talking food,
Oh,
is it?
show me what you got.
I even forgot which one it is. What I picked today. I think this is it. Yeah.
I have definitely felt like that. If you ever see I'm going to send you a picture one day of my counter when I meal prep. The first thing I do is
2 hours of prep and cooking.
I go home and I take everything out of the refrigerator that I'm going to use.
Okay.
Because when I do when I make his salad, because I make him a big salad every day, I have 10 containers that I take stuff out of, and I mix into his salad. So the whole counter is.
I do this.
full
I
of
take everything.
containers.
Everything comes out, and then I have my spot at the counter that I like to
that you like
chop,
to stand at.
because I have it's got a garbage can right under it, so I can just go
Oh,
like
that's a good
this.
idea.
So but that's my space. Don't mess with my space.
Right,
Everything
don't
goes
mess-
around.
Right.
But I have to say I'm a neat freak, so then I start cleaning as I'm
Cleaning up.
going,
Yes.
which
yes.
elongates the process too.
Of course it does.
So then the cooking process. So then I get yelled at, like, "All right, are we going to eat already?"
Right.
So then I wind up leaving things, and it's like, oh. So then it's more work. So, but I like to clean as I go and just dump it in the
Yeah,
sink. But that is very true. I mean, that mess that you make. And then we've also been sharing some old photos. It's our 25th anniversary.
Oh, I remember this one.
I got 2 of them here. This is a follow-up. So last week we shared some photos from Hurricane Sandy collection, and we talked specifically about this. And I just wanted to show these were after a couple of days of taking donations, we came back one morning to this. This was all overnight drop-offs during that time. So we talked about it. I just found as a follow-up, wanted to share.
I actually came
found the
across a
photo.
picture of the inside of the building too.
Oh God, I got them somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, that crazy times. And then the photo that I wanted to share was this one. So this is another advance file photo. This is my mom and my brother Anthony, and Jill Farron Phelps. She was the executive producer for One Life to Live at the time. Linda Dano. And I don't know the gentleman's name. Another One Life to Live soap star. This is when we hosted the sing-along contest over the summer for Rainbow's Hope. Cool stuff. Karaoke.
Yeah, that was fun.
Contest judged by the stars.
Speaking
Fun
of
times.
contests, Rabs Got Talent. Come on, people.
The deadline's approaching.
Yeah, send it in. I know some of my friends haven't submitted stuff, so I'm gonna
Poke them.
poke them. Well, I'm gonna get online and text them.
Well, there
today.
used to be that old face. Can you still poke on Facebook?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I was never a fan of the poking on the
Yeah,
Facebook.
no,
I always found that
I've
bizarre.
never done that.
When you could poke, instead of sending a message, you poke them.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I've
So
never done
yeah, as it's telling you, bowlatrabs.com/talent. Send us fill out the form. Send us your video. We want to showcase your talent and give away a sizable trophy.
that. Yeah.
There might be some tiki-talking happening.
There are some. What about Devante from yesterday?
Did you go? I saw one of his TikToks. I mean,
Did you?
The kid's
No,
got talent.
I tried to look on the TikTok for Mellis, and I don't know what his name is, so I can find
So
him.
the TikTok they filmed that Principal Mellis did is on the New Ventures Instagram and Facebook page.
Okay.
I don't know if he posted, but it's the Savage Dance, and he does the dance.
Savage.
I mean, it's pretty funny. I mean,
He does it. Oh,
yeah. And then in a conversation with him this morning, he said that the next one when we reopen, he wants to come here, and him and I can do one. I just said, yeah, okay.
that's funny.
But he was challenging his kids for talent and
Right.
to share their videos. So.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, New Ventures Charter School, Facebook and Instagram. Go check it out. You'll see Ryan Mellis jamming it out to the
I'm definitely going to do that.
Savage. I'd play it here, but I don't want to get kicked off.
Yeah, well,
Because
we
of
can't play the
copyright.
music. You'd have to do like 100 disclaimers that
This is not mine.
this
I
is
don't
not
own
my
this.
music.
This is
Right.
not me in the video. This is somebody else that we're stealing and laughing
Well,
at.
that's funny because how do they get away with it then on TikTok and the Instagram?
It has to do with the live. The fact that we are
Oh, okay.
disseminating to an audience via live.
Okay.
That's the issue.
I
I mean,
got
you could post any content you want. I will tell you, even on the business pages, we have to be careful. So there was a video that we had shared months and months ago of this couple. He's a personal trainer. And they did
Oh, yeah,
this
they did some
exercise
videos.
video
Right,
here.
right.
And a great piece. I shared it. 2 weeks ago, I got a notice that it was being removed for copyrighted music. But it was because it was posted to a business page. And so if it's posted to a personal page, I mean, they could break your chops if they think that you're
Make it. I
making
guess
money
it's
off of
right. It's about making money off it.
right. So
Somebody
that's the assumption. So that's why they break your chops.
I got it.
So, but on the business page, you'll see it more karate chop.
Yeah.
Like in the first couple of days on our show, we got knocked off.
We did. We didn't know what was going on.
Well, it was Thursday, episode 66, Naz, day 73 of the quarantine. Quick funny, the Staten Island Advance, I talked about this. I had done an interview
Right.
for their
I
new
saw it.
series, Together
Yes.
SI, and so they posted it today. But it was 20 days ago,
And people are right. And you talked about opening in
July 1.
July.
Well, 20. So on the Kenny's League's Facebook page, the Friday Night Mix Cortez, Dawn Bors, in her funny nature, posted it and said, July 1st, what happened there? And it's funny because one, it was 20 days ago, and then the conversation kind of turned, well, I don't know what happened yesterday. I don't remember what happened yesterday. I don't remember what happened 20 days ago. 20 days ago, they told us one thing. Today, they're telling us another thing.
Yes.
And I don't even know what they're telling us
They
anymore.
kicked the can, or as Danny said, they moved the goalpost.
They moved the goal. I like that one.
Yeah.
So we don't know, but they took they're interviewing small business owners. You'll see some other familiar faces on there as well over the next couple days. But tune into the Advances Facebook page. So 5:00 today, Pam's getting interviewed. They're doing their live thing. But these interviews they've done with small businesses just highlight different segments within business, the real estate, restaurants. So check them out. It was my pleasure to do that with them. And that was shared today. But it was just funny that 20 days ago I did this interview. That's when we were having Figgy on. I mean, that's how long ago Figgy was on our show, 16 episodes ago.
Seems like just yesterday to me.
I know.
Too bad there's not a little like heart emoji they could show.
We need animations. We need little
Yeah.
animations. That's funny. Hey, well, thanks for tuning in. Continue to like and share our content.
Subscribe.
Yes. And also like the page. That's how you get that notification. Not follow. Like the page.
Yes.
And we've seen. Somebody asked me today, have you seen growth and as a result of the show? And yeah, we've seen that. For us, it was about staying relevant and staying in communicado with our folks. And so I hope you've been enjoying. You're still watching us. So please share it with everybody, because if you like it, then somebody else might find something that they enjoy. Tomorrow, for our bowling fans, we have the one and only Jim Episcopia, along with Dan Moffat on the show.
Dan Moffat.
President, Vice President of the Staten Island USBC. They have a couple of announcements.
I'm so super excited.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
It should be very interesting having them on here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Those two. It's Statler and Waldorf. Right? If anybody doesn't know who that reference, the Muppets, the guys in the balcony.
And don't say the two old guys. Just say the two guys.
Oh, they're the two old guys. They're definitely the old guys. And usually they do their shtick at the bar. Well, thank you, Pam and Danny, for joining us today.
That was awesome.
We look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. We're here every day, 2 p.m., unless noted, until further notice. And before we know it, we'll be back on the lanes together. We'll be back inside Rabs, enjoying a beer, some pizza, some fellowship, and social recreation.
Maybe a new bowling ball. You never know.
You never know. But until then, we'll see you tomorrow, 2:00. Yes.
That was awesome. Bye-bye.